Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler joined together for a drastically scaled-down premiere of Disney's Snow White. Despite reports, there was tension between them.
Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler were caught in a moment that has the internet convinced. Gal wants nothing to do with her. And once you see this hotel footage, you'll get why. Rachel's been stirring up drama lately, but did she finally push Wonder Woman too far? Fans are losing it over Gal's reaction, and honestly, it's brutal. Let's break it all down, because this might be the realest Hollywood tension we've seen in a while. So here's the deal. Gal Gadot, Hollywood's golden girl, our Wonder Woman, the epitome of grace and charm. And then we have Rachel Zegler, young, outspoken, and, let's be real, pretty controversial as of late.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
You'd think that since they starred together in the upcoming Snow White live-action remake, they'd be all buddy-buddy, right? Well, not exactly. See, Rachel's been making headlines for all the wrong reasons recently. From slamming the original Snow White movie, yep, the one her own film is based on, to calling out fans who weren't thrilled about her casting, she's been rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And let's just say, Gal, she doesn't seem too thrilled either. And now this hotel footage just dropped, and it's got people convinced that Gal Gadot is officially over it. I'm talking crossed arms, zero eye contact, a whole vibe shift. And when Rachel reaches out, Gal's reaction says everything. But what really happened? Is this just an awkward moment, or is there something much bigger going on behind the scenes?
Snow White star Rachel Zegler is entering the chat, telling Allure she struggles to meet supportive women in Hollywood. Quote, "All I'm ever really looking for in this business is a sister, and they're not always easy to find."
Let's break it down. Now, this isn't the first time Rachel Zegler has stirred up controversy. In fact, if you've been keeping up with Hollywood drama, you probably already know. Rachel has a bit of a reputation for, well, saying exactly what's on her mind, whether people like it or not. It all really kicked off when she started openly criticizing the very movie she's starring in, Disney's live-action Snow White. Instead of celebrating the classic, she called the original 1937 film weird, dismissed the love story as outdated, and even dragged Prince Charming, calling him a stalker who gives off creepy vibes. And listen, while Disney's all about modernizing fairy tales, fans did not take kindly to her trashing such an iconic film.
Rachel Zegler just had one of the most disliked trailers in history with Snow White, but now after all the controversy, she's come out slamming Gal Gadot.
And then came the clapbacks. When people online expressed frustration over her comments, instead of smoothing things over, Rachel doubled down, at one point, even joking that she was only doing the movie for the paycheck. Now, whether you find that funny or not, it's not exactly what Disney executives want to hear from their lead actress. But it doesn't stop there. Rachel has also been accused of having a bit of a diva attitude. There were reports from industry insiders suggesting she can be difficult to work with. And even in interviews, people have pointed out how she tends to dominate conversations. Compare that to someone like Gal Gadot, who's known for being professional, graceful, and widely respected in Hollywood.
Somebody tweeted and said, Rachel Zegler has such an attitude about Snow White as a character, it's genuinely off-putting.
That's where the tension starts to make sense. And this all brings us to the hotel footage. If Gal has been silently watching all of this unfold, maybe, just maybe, she's had enough. And honestly, after seeing the way she reacts to Rachel in this clip, I wouldn't blame her. Let's break it down. Now, this is the moment that has everyone convinced. Gal Gadot has officially had it with Rachel Zegler. The footage in question comes from a high-end hotel event where the cast of the Snow White remake was gathered. You'd expect a warm, friendly atmosphere, right? But this clip tells a very different story.
What was it like seeing yourself for the first time in full Snow White drag?
I love that.
Let's break it down step by step. The video starts with Rachel in her usual animated style. She's talking enthusiastically, gesturing with her hands, and clearly making an effort to engage in conversation. Her energy is high, her expressions are lively, and she seems completely invested in whatever she's saying. But if you look closely, something seems off. Gal Gadot? She's not mirroring Rachel's enthusiasm at all. In fact, she's doing the exact opposite. She's turned slightly away from Rachel, her body angled in a way that suggests she's not entirely open to the conversation. And then there's the big one. Her arms are crossed tightly over her chest in a classic, closed-off stance. If you know anything about body language, you'll recognize this instantly.
We just want propaganda-free entertainment.
And that really is the main point. We're just trying to represent the values that Snow White is based in, the timeless values that we all loved growing up.
Experts say crossing your arms is often a subconscious way of creating a physical barrier. It can signal discomfort, disinterest, or even irritation. And it doesn't stop there. Gal's facial expression is completely neutral, almost too neutral. There's no polite smile, no nod of acknowledgement, no sign that she's actively engaging with what Rachel is saying. If anything, she looks like she's waiting for the moment to pass, almost like she's mentally checked out of the conversation. It's a stark contrast to Rachel's high-energy approach, making the interaction feel even more uncomfortable. Then comes the moment that made the internet explode.
Tape you've ever seen in your life. I have no idea how I got the part still. And it's being used to teach future casting directors at NYU.
Rachel, in what appears to be an attempt to establish a friendlier, more personal connection, reaches out and lightly touches Gal's arm. It's a small, seemingly innocent gesture, but Gal's reaction is impossible to ignore. Instead of responding warmly or even neutrally, she subtly but unmistakably leans away, pulling back just enough to create distance between them. It's quick, but it's there. And in Hollywood, where public appearances are carefully curated and interactions are often heavily rehearsed, this kind of non-verbal rejection speaks louder than words. Social media, of course, wasted no time dissecting every single frame.
With a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Some fans immediately pointed out that Gal didn't even acknowledge Rachel's touch. No quick glance, no reassuring smile, nothing. In an industry where fake pleasantries are practically a requirement, even the smallest deviation from expected behavior can send a strong message. And this wasn't just a small deviation. To some, it was undeniable proof that Gal wants nothing to do with Rachel. Of course, not everyone agrees. Some argue that people are reading way too much into an awkward moment, turning a simple interaction into a full-blown controversy. Maybe Gal was just tired. Maybe she was distracted. Maybe she didn't even notice Rachel's touch.
Disney has scrapped plans for a star-studded UK premiere of its live-action Snow White remake, a decision driven by fears of an anti-woke backlash.
But with tensions already swirling around Rachel's past controversies, and the internet always hungry for drama, this clip has taken on a life of its own. So, was this an innocent misunderstanding? Or a quiet, deliberate snub? Let's dive even deeper. As Rachel keeps talking, Gal's expression remains stone cold. No nods of agreement, no polite smiles, just a blank, distant look, as if she's completely uninterested or just waiting for this conversation to be over already. Her eyes don't light up, her posture stays stiff, and there's zero effort to engage. It's the kind of body language that screams discomfort, disinterest, or maybe even quiet annoyance. Then comes the real moment that sent social media into an absolute frenzy. Rachel reaches out and lightly touches Gal's arm, a small gesture that, under normal circumstances, would seem harmless or even friendly. But Gal's response? Subtle, yet unmistakable. She leans away, ever so slightly but very deliberately, as if putting physical distance between herself and Rachel was a reflex. It's the kind of moment that might seem minor on the surface, but in Hollywood, where public appearances are meticulously crafted and every move is calculated, it speaks volumes. And of course, people online wasted no time dissecting every frame of the interaction. Some pointed out that Gal didn't even acknowledge Rachel's touch. Not a smile, not a quick glance, not even the most minimal reciprocation. Others highlighted how, in an industry where fake pleasantries are practically a requirement, a lack of even the most basic social niceties is a pretty strong message. Was it just a moment of awkwardness? Or was it a subtle but intentional sign that Gal wants nothing to do with Rachel? Regardless of which side you're on, one thing is clear. This clip has taken on a life of its own, and the internet is eating it up. But here's the real question. Was this just an awkward, unfortunate moment caught on camera? Or is it undeniable proof that Gal is genuinely over Rachel's antics? Is there real tension simmering beneath the surface? Or are people simply reading too much into an innocent interaction? Well, one thing's for sure. The internet is never short on opinions.
Talking about matters of wokeness, let's talk about Disney. Now, we told you last month about how they were the latest big business to say they were going to undo most of their DEI policies. It's amazing what Trump has been able to do.
And trust me, some of them are absolutely brutal. From scathing comments dissecting every micro-expression to wild theories about what's really going on behind the scenes, fans have been relentless in their analysis. Some are convinced that Gal's body language and demeanor say it all, while others insist this is nothing more than an overblown misunderstanding fueled by social media speculation. So, is Gal Gadot truly distancing herself from Rachel Zegler? Or is this just another case of the internet doing what it does best, turning a fleeting moment into a full-blown controversy? Let's break it all down. We've broken it all down. The history between them, Rachel's past controversies that have sparked heated debates, the awkward hotel moment that left fans buzzing, and of course the brutal reactions pouring in from every corner of the internet. Some people are convinced this is undeniable proof that Gal wants absolutely nothing to do with Rachel, pointing to subtle body language and icy exchanges as evidence. Others, however, argue that the entire situation is just an innocent misunderstanding blown way out of proportion by eager fans looking for drama. Either way, one thing's for sure. This clip has set social media on fire. The speculation is endless, and whether you believe it's a major snub or just awkward timing, everyone seems to have an opinion. So, what's the real story? Let's dive in. But what do you think? Is Gal sending a message with her body language? Or are people reading too much into it? Let me know in the comments because I need to hear your take on this one. And of course, if you want more Hollywood drama, more tea, and more deep dives like this, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.